Alright, hey guys, today we're just going to be going over how to update the skins and liveries of our F-18s in VFA-137 here. So, to begin, you're going to need to download GIMP if you do not already have it installed. Just type in GIMP 2.0 download, and then you should see it, gimp.org/downloads. Click on that. Here we are. And then you can either download via BitTorrent or directly. So, after you download GIMP, you're going to want to download the GIMP DDS plugin, so you can save and open the DDS file format, which is what DCS uses. So that is very important because it is a huge time saver. Because otherwise you'd have to go and convert BMPs to DDS files, and that just takes forever. So you can see the DDS plugin is here, and you're going to want to ignore all these other downloads here. Click on this one that says Trusted Download Free. Download GIMP DDS plugin. Click that. It'll take you to this automatic download screen, and then it'll zip it up. Just open it, and there's a readme here in case you don't know how to do this or this changes. You extract all, and then you go to your program files folder, which typically is in drive C, although it can change. So you go program files, GIMP2, lib, GIMP 2.0, plugins, and then you just extract it here, and then it'll ask you for some permissions. Just give it to it. Anyway, that's how you install GIMP and the plugins. So now we're actually going into the software here. And this isn't going to be a comprehensive tutorial on how to use GIMP, because that's something you kind of learn as you go. This is just going to be a demonstration of how you can edit the liveries by adding the rank and name of our pilot, as well as a number if it's not already there. Although I'll go over the number in a different video. Today's just going to be focusing on the rank and name and what's displayed here. So, here we are. This is the standard template for VFA-137 here. And you have the number of the jet here. And you also have a cockpit warning here. So, first thing we're going to do, move this, right? To make room for the name, because the name goes pretty much right above this Navy symbol. And this canopy ejection seat warning is just not going to cut it for us here. So we're just going to move it. We're not going to delete it, we're just going to move it. So that... sometimes you have to try more than once here. And this is by no means the most efficient way of doing this. This is just a way you can do this. Right? So, if you come up with a better way to do this, please tell me. I, of course, would be happy to know. So I'm just going to call this layer Ejection Warning. Alright, and now we have that. We can just move that over to the side. And we're going to have to duplicate it for later. So we can just rotate that one 180 degrees, stick it right there. Alright, so now we actually have to cover that up, right? And what I do for that is I do another select, and I just kind of do a little rectangle here with a kind of same dirt pattern that's been displayed here. And let's see, what are we going to call this? We're going to call this selection. Alright, and now alright, well, that ended up copying the wrong thing. So what you have to do is you have to select that the layer that you want to select something on. I forgot to do that, and that's why I did that. So you just kind of start there at the same level into the same level. So to new layer, I'll call this selection. Now we can move that and cover it up. And yeah, it's pretty nice. I'm gonna keep that there. We're eventually gonna blur that so it's harder to see. But now we get to the actual name part of it, right? I'm just gonna make another duplicate of that. Actually, not right now. So now what you do, select that layer, click on the little text icon here, which is displayed as an A, capital A, and then, by the way, I'm doing all my work on the right side. That left side screen is just a example of an already complete one. So you're going to click, you're going to make sure the font is serif bold. In this case it is. That is one of the default fonts, and that is the font that we use for names and such. So now we are going to get the rank, first and last name, and call sign of our pilot, which in this case is 204. And I don't have the full name, so we're just gonna make sure that's above everything so you can actually see it. Ensign L, and make sure everything's in capital letters. And then you do quote, space, and then their call sign. So in this case, it's Bones, then space, then quote. It's just how we do it. And for some reason, if you need to update a rank, like someone gets promoted, which will happen, then you would have to open the Photoshop layer of this, right? Because that already has the text on there, and we eventually will get Photoshop layers of these, just not at this moment. We don't have that, so now we're just rotating it so where it's flush with that. And why don't we go ahead and scale that up a bit so it covers that up too. And then we just move the text over a little more where it's over there. It's got to be above it. Now we just take the selection and just move it over here. And the ejection seat warning isn't really that important. Yeah, and by that I mean where it goes is not that important. Typically I have it, not too far, right? You don't want it to be too far away, but it all depends on how you do it, of course. And here it is. We're just going to move that over. About there's fine. Then we just want to rotate it, make sure it's flush with it, and it can be hard to tell if you're not working with the Photoshop layer. But that's just something you're going to have to do. So now what we can do is we can actually merge the cover-up layer and the text layer. So we only have to make one copy of that. And the reason I didn't combine the ejection seat warning layer with the text layer is because when you flip it over here, you're going to end up having to rotate the text 180 degrees. Like you could see VFA-137 here and VFA-137 there. You have to flip it 180 degrees, and if we were to flip this 180 degrees and this ejection seat warning was part of it, then the ejection seat warning would be on the wrong side. So we can't do that. So then we just take the copy here, move it down, then flip it 180 degrees, and we do that by going Layer, Transform, Rotate 180. Then we rotate it some more until we are satisfied. And that looks pretty good. So now we take the ejection warning copy, just move that down, rotate it some more. That's not something like that. Should alright, that was a little too much. Yeah, the rotation tool in GIMP is a little. The scaling and rotating tools are kind of difficult to use sometimes. So now we have this, and in this case we can actually combine these layers now if we really wanted to. It doesn't matter at this point if you're using a DDS file, because it doesn't read layers anyway, and it won't save in layers. At least according to what I know. But when we get the Photoshop version of these skins, it will save in layers, and we eventually will update these skins. But for now, we can just merge all the layers into one. Now, final thing we have to do is to just blur it a little bit so it doesn't look so out of place. And how I do that is I just get the blur tool and I kind of just go on the edges there, so it's more of a gradient. Might have to use a smudge tool here, and then kind of at the bottom here. And you really can't tell on that side. It still looks out of place, but it's not as bad, right? And same thing for this side. So you just take the blur tool, you just kind of go around with it. Make sure you don't blur anything too much, because then you can see it. But that is the basic of how to put someone's name on there, right? So you can override the file directly if you got it from your DCS directory in the first place, or if you do not have it, if you did not get the file, if you didn't import it from your DCS, you have to go to your DCS directory. And for standalone users, this is located in Eagle Dynamics, DCS World Open Beta, Core Mods, Aircraft, F-18C, Liveries, F-18C Hornet, and then the livery that you got it from, in this case 204 Bones. Now what you want to do is go here, select all files, actually you can't save it, you have to export as, right? And then since I already did this, it's the same directory. But once you get into the actual livery, you're going to want to save it, if it's not already saved, as F18C_1_DIFF.DDS, right? And to save it as a DDS, you just go over here, and that plugin you got allows it to be saved as a DDS, and you are also going to want to change the suffix here to DDS.DDS if it's not already. Then you just export it. In this case, it says it already exists. Do you want to replace it? Yes. Although, since we didn't have to do that, since we already did an overwrite of the previous one. But now we just go into DCS, and the skin will be updated. So that's all there is to it.